Hi everybody, welcome to In the Stacks with Julia and Christina. And today we have a very special guest, our friend Natasha, who works at the circulation desk here at the AC Hunter Public Library. We're going to talk about some books that we're reading, some things we may be rereading, and also things that we're currently in the midst of reading. And in my case, that's this book here, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. So, in 1926, December the 3rd, Agatha Christie went missing for like 11 days. Nobody knew where she was. They had a huge manhunt. There were like 15,000 volunteers, over 1,000 police people out searching for her. And wow. I know. It was crazy. So they had all these people looking for her, and she went completely off grid for 11 days. There's lots of speculation as to what happened to her. Nobody actually really knows. And this is a fictionalization about what one of those possibilities could be. I'm just getting started. Loves me some Agatha Christie. So I'm like really interested in that mystery about her life. And
so did she show back up after the 11 days?
She did. Yeah, she was gone till the 14th of December, and then somebody in a hotel in Hargate recognized her. A banjo player. I know this is like a little kind of weird. I know these things. A banjo player in one of the resort hotels there recognized her, called the police. The police called her husband. Her husband came to pick her up. And apparently she had checked in to the hotel under the name of his mistress. Whoa! So I don't know what the truth is about that. But I'm just starting this book. I'm super excited to get it. I can't wait to read all of it because I just love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So she never told anybody why she disappeared?
No, she never told anybody. Her biographer got a little bit of information out of her. Apparently, they believe that she was in some sort of fugue state brought on by depression and anxiety because her husband was a philanderer, was messing around on her for a long time with this Teresa Neal lady. Wow. Yeah. So I'm super, super excited about this.
And it's good?
So far, so good. I'm only a couple chapters in. But again, I love that time period. I love all things Agatha Christie. So,
awesome.
You like to go next?
I'll go next. Okay. So one of my recent reads was Jazz Owls, a novel of the Zoot Suit Riots by Margarita Engel. And
the Zoot Suit Riots.
Zoot Suit Riots.
That's hard to say.
It's really hard to say. But there's a song from the 90s that I've had stuck in my head ever since I read this book. But it's a novel in verse. And I love a novel in verse. And I used to read them all the time when I was younger. And I'm just recently getting back into them. And this was a fantastic one. And the Zoot Suit Riots I've heard of. But it was one of those things that you hear of and you don't really know what they're about.
Yes.
I knew that zoot suits were a particular fashion choice back in like the 40s.
The 30s and the 40s, yeah.
Yeah, it was a big fashion choice, and it was predominantly seen in smaller marginalized communities, so like the Latin American communities, Black communities. And so I just assumed that it was something race related. And it was, but the Zoot Suit Riots were violence that was largely perpetrated by white American servicemen who were stationed in California, getting ready to go over to Asia, Japan, in the 40s, against people of color, usually Mexican Americans, but it included other people of Latin American descent. Anyone who typically wore a zoot suit, they decided to be violent towards.
That's horrible.
Right? And the worst part was, well, I mean, there's lots of worst parts about the Zoot Suit Riots. There's lots of things. But the thing that really kind of got under my skin when I was reading this book was this book is told by a bunch of different perspectives. So it's a novel in verse, but it's told by perspectives of a Mexican American family who have a son overseas, but who also have 2 daughters and a son still on American soil. It's also told from the perspectives of journalists who are covering the Zoot Suit riots and police officers. And one of the things that really got under my skin reading this was that the police officers often arrested the Latino victims under the guise that it was for their own protection because they didn't want to be seen as anti-patriotic or anti-American by arresting the servicemen who were actually doing the violence.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And I was just like, that just made me so angry.
That's a sign of a really good book when you can read something like that and you get an emotional, evocative kind of response.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a really good book. The title, Jazz Owls, actually comes from the name that were given to the girls. So a lot of these Mexican American girls were factory workers. So they would spend all day working in the factories, and then they would go out dancing at night with the American servicemen. And then they would go back to work in the morning on like no sleep. I don't know how they did that. I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it.
Excellent. Yeah. So I see that you're reading this one.
Yeah.
Toil and Trouble. What do you think?
Toil and Trouble by Augustine Boros.
I've heard really interesting things about
I
that.
have too. So it's a memoir, and he has quite a few written, but this is the first one I've ever read, sorry. And it's about a witch. He claims to be a witch. And interesting things about it is it really resonated with me because we all get that feeling of like sometimes deja vu or happenstance, which is one of my favorite words, happenstance.
Getting in touch with your inner witch.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it's lots of anecdotal situations from his childhood and as an adult that things happen, and it's kind of like unexplainable things that maybe we do have some kind of sense that we're putting out in the universe, that we're kind of making things happen.
a little
So
bit of autonomy through witchcraft.
exactly. Yeah. So he has lots of examples in this book of things that he's made happen, and there's some spells that he's used.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, and how he's influenced the path of his life. So convincing his husband to buy a house in the country, move away from New York City and buy a house in the country when his husband was absolutely against it.
But suddenly it became his husband's idea.
Yeah.
And they were able to do that, yes.
Yeah, and he did that by writing a spell and writing.
No women who are married understand that at all. Oh, honey, that's such a good idea. How come I never thought of that? You're so smart.
Influential, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. He has another one called Running with Scissors, which I haven't read yet.
Running with Scissors is one that I hear everybody recommend.
Yes.
I haven't heard anybody say, don't read that book. I've always heard people, yeah, you have to read this book.
That's what I've heard too, but I wanted to do this one because it's
A little bit
about
more of a
witch.
lighthearted.
Yes, it's very
Also-
humorous. He's got a great eccentric personality. So this one's a really good read.
Yay! That was a good one. So my last one that I read was called The Memory Please by Yoko Ogata.
I've heard amazing
It's on my
things
to-be
about
read
that.
It is so good.
Ooh.
It was so good. I'm not a big dystopian fan, so it's a YA novel. It's dystopian, but I saw it described as a gentle dystopian read. So what it does is it kind of lulls you into a false sense of complacency. Like you just kind of like, okay, this is the way the world is, just like the characters. So in this book, it's an unnamed island off an unnamed coast. Now the book was written 25 years ago and just was recently translated. So in the
I
last
didn't know
couple,
that.
yeah, it was only translated in the last couple of years. So it starts off with the mother and the daughter talking about birds. I think it's about birds, or maybe it's flowers. Anyway, there are no birds. people don't recognize birds, they don't understand what a bird is. There's no evidence of birds because on this island, people start to forget things. So birds, roses, books, like items. And those items disappear from existence because the memory police come and erase all evidence that they were ever there.
Huh.
And like, it's like terrifying, but it's a terrifying thing, but the way it's written, again, is so gentle and so complacent that it's scary in its gentleness. Like it's a bit terrifying because you think about the concept of things like suddenly one day I won't know what a car is, and then there's no cars, so I don't need to know what a car is. What's the sense of knowing something if there's nothing there to know about it? Like, do you understand what, does that make sense? Like, if suddenly one day I forgot what a car was, and then the memory police would come and they would get rid of all the cars, any reference of a car in a book, any reference of a car in any film, any reference of cars. So the fact that I forgot it is no big deal because there's nothing there for me to have forgotten.
Interesting.
It is like really, really a good
Interesting
book.
concept.
Yeah.
The concept is really interesting.
So originally, like I said, I'm not a big dystopian fan. I'm not a big, like, I don't read YA as much as I used to. But my daughter saw it on a BookTube, recommendation. And so she said, Mom, you got to read this book. And I'm like, okay, because she never recommends books to me ever. So I was like, okay, I got to read this because this is like a new thing for her to want to recommend books to me. So yeah, it's really, really good.
Excellent. Yeah, I enjoy the odd dystopian novels, so this would probably right up my alley.
So what's your next book?
My next book is one that I can't talk too much about, actually. I don't have it with me. I don't have either of my books with me because one I've already returned to the library, The Jazz Owls. That's already read and gone back to the shelf. And the other one is an ebook, so
That's okay.
don't have it
We
with me
love
yet.
e-library. Libby is our friend.
Libby is my friend because it's The Archive of the Forgotten by A.J. Hapworth that I am reading. And it is the sequel to The Library of the Unwritten.
We forgot. We did it again. We did it again.
Did.
Oh my God, that's okay.
I know we have this weird thing that we
Symbiotic relationship.
Right.
Yes. Very
fictional, based on true stories.
And you don't
Memory
discuss the books
things.
beforehand.
We
don't.
You don't.
No. But yeah, so I'm reading about just over halfway through The Archive of the Forgotten, and it's the sequel to The Library of the Unwritten. So if you tuned in last month, I talked about The Library of the Unwritten, and this picks up exactly where that one leaves off. So I really can't say too much. I don't want to spoil anything. But this one, I will say, it's a little bit slower. The Library of the Unwritten is much more fast-paced than this one, but I think this one is kind of more interesting because it looks at the characters a lot more, so you get a lot more character development. You get a little bit more world building. So she still has the Greek and the Norse and the Christian mythology that she dealt with in Library of the Unwritten. She still has all that. But she introduces other religions as well. And so it's a little bit of a slower paced book, but it is still really fun and interesting. And I'm really enjoying the little snippets of the other faiths that she introduces. So we got a little taste of Zoroastrianism, which is a fabulous religion that I never hear much about, but it is one of the world's oldest continuously practiced religions. So it was really kind of interesting, the little snippet that she introduced of that one.
Again, a fictional book making you want to learn more about
Yes.
real life things.
It is. It's really interesting. This is a little bit of a slower build. It still has a little bit of a mystery element. We get a little bit of a mystery with this mysterious substance that they find that might be magical ink, which is kind of cool. But it is really good. So I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want to ruin book one. But I would definitely highly recommend the whole series as a whole. And what I love about these books is that the author is really good at providing little quotable snippets in her book. So like the characters will say something or they'll read a document that says something. And it's just like, it's a fabulous quote.
Yeah.
And so I have one that I have to read for you. And it's about stories, because we're talking about stories today. Stories are as old as us, no one culture holds claim to the creation of first stories. The origin of stories has often been attributed to something divine, gods or the fates.
That's a really nice
Right?
quote.
That is a great
Yeah.
quote. I want a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's very quotable. And the author does that throughout the whole book. Like there's always these random little, very quotable phrases that she introduces that are about literature and about ideas and about
That should go on t-shirt or on cover.
yeah. So that's my second book.
Yay.
That's a great book. And it kind of ties in, because mine is kind of a retelling of Welsh mythology.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love the
I
cover.
know,
I
the
love it.
Bone Houses. So this is a YA novel. It's called Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. And it's a Welsh retelling of The Cauldron of Reborn. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
I have not.
Okay.
Fill us in.
I don't know too much about it, but I know most of it is in the story, so you should read this one. But basically, bone houses are like kind of like zombies for the risen dead. So I have witches and zombies. So
Excellent.
that's kind of my theme too. But basically, it's about a 17-year-old girl named Wren, and she is a grave digger for her small village. And basically, the undead come through a forest, and she has to kind of get rid of them, destroy them, and burn the bones and such like that. And it's because of a curse about a cauldron that basically made you could put a body in it and they would come back to life.
Oh, kind of like on Harry Potter.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a couple of, yeah.
Okay, just saying.
J.K. Rowling did borrow things from lots of places.
Yeah, and also there's the Black Cauldron it's a Disney movie. If you've ever
Yes.
seen that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
so that's
I remember
kind of
that one,
based on
yeah.
too. But anyway, Wren is a 17-year-old girl. She's got to take care of her family, young brother and sister. Her parents have passed away, and her uncle's gone missing. And the bone houses, they used to only stick around the forest, but now they're becoming more bolder and threatening the village.
So the people are called bone houses.
The skeleton
Oh, the
zombies.
zombie people. Those are
Yeah.
called bone houses.
Bone houses.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a map maker arrives at the village. And so Wren and Ellis, the map maker, have to go on a journey to try and defeat the curse. And they have to travel through the forest and travel past it. And they have to, and they discover a lot about themselves and about the curse itself. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's a really good read.
That does it. Right.
That
The
sounds really
description
interesting.
makes me want to read. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in today.